Alrighty, welcome to Game 3 of our Starcraft 2 Friendly Tournament Finals. We've got Henry here as the Zerg, up 2 games, against Lunik as the Protoss. Lunik has been falling behind a little bit on our supply situation, and that has caused some problems. Basically, just kind of getting outsped. That's the way that StarCraft works sometimes. Your opponent does your thing faster, and you get moitered. This map we've seen a couple of times. It has a pocket natural that you can build to expand into this natural, or into this set of rich minerals. And then it's got a second entry point down here into a actual natural that has just some normal minerals fields on it. We see Henry already taking his expansion. Normal to take it that early. Just build a bunch of workers. Do that. He is not scouted with his Overlord this time. Lunik, with the genius strategy, expanding into his rich mineral base right away. He has played on this map before, and Henry might not remember how this map works. Or it may be new to him. It's hard to say. But he has not noticed this rich mineral field down here. Lunik getting a gateway out. Spawning pool coming up for Henry here. We'd love to see a little bit more chrono boosting coming out of Lunik here. They're both going to have their expansions coming up at virtually the same time right now. Let's take a look and see if Lunik is... Yeah, he's migrated a bunch of his units over to go mine from that rich mineral field. This is very good. This is going to help him out a lot. Depending on how long it takes Henry to notice that this expansion down here has this set of rich minerals, Lunik could pull ahead by a lot of minerals here. This Overlord coming in. Taking a little quick scout path, figuring out what's going on. Henry's going to see the gateway and the cybernetics core coming up. We got third expansion coming out of Lunik here very quickly. This is fantastic. We love to see those. Queen's coming up now for Henry. Going to start pumping extra larvae into these. Let him make a lot more units. See what he tries to do. Lunik's a little bit more on top of it this game. This looks like a promising start. He needs this making probes, though. He has enough to be doing that. What is going on with these probes back here? Are they not doing anything? Oh no, he's got some probes in the backline that aren't doing anything. He's never going to notice that. I wonder how that ended up happening. That's very sad. Oh, he canceled his cybernetics core because he realized he already had one. We got Roach Warren coming up, Lair coming up, a couple of Overlords coming out, more Extractors going up. Expansion coming out for Henry. He's a little bit behind on this one, and he doesn't have the rich mineral field bonus available to him because he's not harvesting off of that one. Chrono boosting this Nexus to get more probes out, which is really good. That is what you're supposed to be doing. He's got this one chrono boosted too. This is fantastic. This is exactly the thing we wanted to see, and will be the thing that will help him pull ahead and win the game maybe. With a little bit of advice we've given him about some units that he might help him in this particular matchup. We'll see if we can get Henry to switch up his builds, change what he's been doing, because he's just been rushing roaches and hydralisks non-stop since he got into the tournament, which is very good, very solid, but we could see more. We could see more interesting things coming out of him, maybe. Not to call him boring, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? See these robotics facilities coming up now? Ludic needs to be getting more Vespene here. This Vespene geyser over here is not saturated. That is one thing that this expansion here doesn't offer is extra. It doesn't give you 2 gas geysers. It only gives you 1. So it puts you ahead a lot on minerals, but it sets you behind a little bit on your gas. Something that Henry is going to be a little bit ahead on. So we'll see what happens here. Got a gateway, another pylon coming up. We've got Immortals coming out of this robotics facility now. Immortals were the unit that we suggested might help. Lunik has not explored much of the Protoss roster, so he is now discovering Immortals for the first time. We'll see how he feels about them and how they perform for him. Let's take a look at our unit count. We've got 8 roaches, 3 queens to 4 zealots. These roaches are not fast enough to engage on anything that's going on right here, though. These Immortals are very, very strong, especially against roaches. Roaches are armored. They take 3 shots out of an Immortal and they die. Stalkers coming out. We said Stalkers were also a great way to deal with roaches. This Stalker going to hunt down and kill this Overlord, dealing with the supply cap a little bit. They're pretty even on workers now, which is good, and the supply cap is genuinely fairly close. We informed Lunik that he was not getting up to 200 supply cap like he needed to be. Ooh, we got Mutalisks coming in. Okay, so we're seeing Mutalisks now, which is very good. It's nice to see Henry switching up a little bit. We got Mutalisks, Zergling, a couple of roaches. It's be nice to see him. We're still behind a little bit on Lunik's end as far as supply cap and his military strength goes, though. He has 3,000 minerals in the bank. This is not good. He needs to spend those minerals. Get them out. Get the stuff out. He's getting choked a little bit on his Vespene, it looks like. Henry taking the long way to his natural, or to his heavy mineral expansion, but there is a rich Vespene geyser here, which could prove very useful. Henry has amassed a pretty substantial force here, although a lot of them are Zerglings. These things do pop pretty quickly. Lunik getting supply capped. Meanwhile, Henry has 200 supply cap. Slightly ahead on workers. We're seeing the main start to run out of minerals here. He's going to need to expand if he wants to keep using all of his probes. Expansions now are risky. You've got this expansion here, this expansion here. These are very far forward. We see Henry's already taken his far forward base. But losses here can be pretty devastating. You know, any fight that you lose in the midfield will lose you a whole expansion. Bases are getting a little bit more fragile as time goes on. See, this rich mineral field is already getting fully harvested. Lunik's got most of that in the bank. Lunik said, photon cannons are good, so I will build a lot of them. And so he has done. Look at that. Big old pile of Immortals. He needs a couple more Stalkers in there. Love to see a couple more Stalkers in there. But they do cost a bit of Vespene, and he's kind of short on that. We see that problem getting fixed. Henry's got his hatchery online. Henry's taken a total of 4 bases. Lunik's only taken a total of 3. We see the income track just a little bit in Henry's favor, but not by a lot. He's down a couple of harvesters. Stargate online. See what happens with that situation. Oh, and he has sealed himself in now. This is an unfortunate situation that does occur sometimes, where you just build too many buildings, and then you can't get out. Fortunately, nothing can get in, but, you know... Oh, I guess this Immortal can swap around. He's actually just small enough to get through there. That's good to see. Lunic's keeping up this game. This is nice to see. Lunic is keeping up. He has realized how many more units he can field and is doing so. Very good to see. Very good to see. We got Gateway coming up again. The Stargate's still not producing anything, but it could be. Oh, we've got a Mutalisk harassment coming in up on this upper base. This base is mostly empty at this point, so this is not too big of a deal to lose, but losing all these pylons would be a big problem. This is how he has all his supply caps, so... We got Stalkers slowly rotating around to help deal with the Mutas, but Mutas are so fast, there's no way to react to it properly. Lunic walling up. Oh, there's a Nidus Worm. Oh my gosh, shoveling Banewings. How did we miss this? This is a teleporter. And it is behind Lunic's backline. This is a crazy strategy to bring out. We see Zealots coming up to help deal with the situation. Banelings, one at a time, blowing themselves up on all of these Zealots. Oh my gosh, this Nidus Worm is so full. Okay, there we go. Let's look at the other end of this Nidus Worm here. Okay, this is the end of the Nidus Worm. That was crazy looking. This thing lets you basically teleport. It basically allows you to teleport and is a big tunnel that you shovel units into. So he's got a bunch of units in here that you can see, and he basically just teleported into the back line of this base because this choke is so strong up here. Henry did lose a lot of Banelings there. He had a bunch of Banelings running out and killing one Zealot at a time, so that he ended up running down on resources there. Which is good for Lunic, but Lunic is still a little bit behind on this supply cap he's got. He just lost so many workers to that. So he needs to fix that problem before he drowns in the later game. Henry's got a lot of minerals in storage, though, so this could be maybe a time to manage an attack. This Nidus Worm is very slow to unload, so... A second Nidus network going up. Goodness gracious. Henry is pulling out the devious strategies now. He's going to attack with a forward force here and then shove a Nidus Worm somewhere in the back of this base and fuck up Lunic's mineral production. We see Lunic building a mothership at his home base. This is a very good unit. And will deal with his Nidus Worm very effectively because Henry has very little in the way of air defense. He's got these couple of Mutalisks, but they get chewed up really fast here. We see Nidus Worm coming up in the expansion into that rich mineral field here. These Void Rays doing damage, but they're going to get picked off by these Mutalisks over time. They're too fast. Oh, getting led into the proton cannon line. Absolutely beautiful play. These are going to get picked off real quick. Losing the expansion is rough. Okay, we need to see better management. There we go. There we go. Fantastic. Seeing these Immortals doing crazy work into these Roaches now. Oh my gosh. Chewing them up like they're paper. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Absolutely fantastic management out of Lunic here. Finding himself up still in that fight. That engage working out in his favor just a little bit. These Roaches getting chewed up by this gigantic pile of Immortals. Now, Lunic is up on supply in his military forces. However, he's still down a little bit on those workers. So Henry needs to spend all these minerals. We see it going. Alright, we see that extra Nidus Worm getting killed. These Nidus Worms cost a little bit of resources, so Henry can't just keep spamming them out, hoping that it's going to do something. He's got a Templar archive coming up. We could see some Dark Templars coming out of him. Does Henry have any detectors up and online at this point in time? He does not, it looks like. We could see some Dark Templars do some really serious damage on him. Some Hydralisks coming out. We've got still a massive army out of Henry here. He's lost so much, but Zerg's ability to just respawn units is really ridiculous. We see Nidus Worm starting to crawl up again. It's going to come right into the back of this base now. Oh. Lunik going on the aggressive, though. If he sees this Nidus Worm come up in his backline, he needs to just fully commit to killing... Oh, goodness, goodness. He needs to fully commit to killing. They need to trade, and he needs to hope that he's got enough left over afterwards. This is good. We're going to see this base go down real quick. These queens are not strong enough to deal with any of this situation. The Nidus Worms are up. We've got units in the back line beating on Lunik, but Lunik has an exceptionally strong force here. We're seeing Zerglings dying horribly. So many Hydralisks, but not quite enough into all the Immortals. This mothership going down. That's a very unfortunate loss. Too many Mutalisks, though. These Mutalisks will clean up these Immortals because they cannot fight into the air. Lots of damage going into the back base here. This is an insane game we're seeing. Holy cow. Lunik doesn't know that he can recall all of his stuff with this ability here, so he's just kind of bleeding over time until he gets back into base and can get some photon cannon defense here. He needs more ground to air or more air to air to deal with these Mutalisks to defend his Immortals that he's got. He's lost a lot of his minerals, but he's built up a nexus here. We see him just barely trickling resources in. Meanwhile, Henry has access to a lot of the map. He's still got expansions up. He's still harvesting resources from around the map. We're only at 18 minutes into the game, guys, and we're seeing some really, really crazy engages at 200. Totally wild gameplay coming out of these two. Very, very happy to see it all. Henry has been doing a lot of economic damage, but Lunik has been taking a lot of names. This is a very unfortunate loss graph, though, at this point in time. Lunik lost a lot in that last fight without gaining much. Mostly just because he had so much die in the backline here while those Nidus Worms just invaded for free. These Hydralisks so slow off a creep. But the Mutalisks coming in, he doesn't have any way to deal with these besides hoping he can get back to his photon cannons in time for them to deal with them. He's got to find something. These Hydralisks walking forward. Gonna get picked off by a bunch of these Immortals, but it's maybe not quite enough. Hard to say. It's hard to say. Oh, shield battery's gone down. These Hydralisks are going to be enough, probably, with the Mutalisk access in the back here. Mutalisk coming in to deal some damage to all these Immortals. And that looks like it'll be enough. Woof. That was a very, very close game. Very, very close game. Lunik falling apart to these couple of Mutalisks. That's so hard to deal with if you don't know what's going on. Oh! Templar casting a big Psionic Storm on him. Dealing lots of damage, but yeah. Man, he was getting close. He was getting so close to doing something there. Oh, so sad to see. So sad to see. He's still got expansions up and access. Okay, hold on. Lunik might be cooking still. We might be still seeing Lunik cook. But probably not. Probably not. This looks like what you look like when you start bleeding to death. Henry's still expanding. Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. Speechless. These Nidus Worm attacks were devastating. That was an insane thing to pull out of your pocket. Truly, truly exceptional. Seeing him get kind of cut to pieces here. Oh, the death blow coming in. Goodness gracious. Congratulations, Henry, on winning the friendly tournament.